That'll help me.
Sorry, councillors, I did bit on that during the meeting, and we'll recommence now that issue with recording, so I do apologise for not being able to live stream right at the beginning of that meeting. We'll recommence the meeting from the beginning again. The council acknowledges and pays respect to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community as the traditional owners and custodians of this land on which we live. In our prayer, may the words of our lips and the meditations of our hearts be always acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. We have apologies to Councillor Diprose and Councillor Block. And we'll go on to confirmation of the minutes. We had Councillor Viney move and Councillor Overton second. Are you happy to? Yes. Yes. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. Council Workshop 2.1, Councillor Hiskett moved and Councillor Beswick second that motion. Happy with those? I'll put the motion again. All those in favour?
Aye.
Motion is carried. No against, was there? And 3.1 is Mayor's communication. I would like to acknowledge the recent passing of Mr. Lionel Bond and recognise his contribution as a councillor to the Central Coast Council and the community. Lionel served as councillor between December 2003 and retired in October 2005. However, after a brief retirement, was re-elected in February 2007 on a vacancy recount until 2014. During his time as councillor, he served on the Cradle Coast Water Representatives Group, the Bushwatch Western District Committee, Code of Conduct Panel nominees, Goldston Band, as the council liaison for the Castro Springs Naita Community Advisory Committee. In 2009, Lionel was the joint recipient of the Australia Day Awards Citizen of the Year for his community contributions to the agricultural industry, Neighbourhood Watch and Forth Valley Meals on Wheels. Lionel has been a valued and active member of the Central Coast community who will be sadly missed by his family and the community alike. And certainly a wonderful character around our council table who made a huge contribution to our community. On to 3.2, which is the Mayor's diary. There's a list there. Can I have somebody move that be so, please? Thanks, Councillor Carpenter, seconded Councillor Overton. Are there any questions on any of those items? Probably just like to report that the Three Waters Forum, New Zealand Water and Sewerage Reform, was a very interesting experience where Mayor Chipman and myself were both invited to speak to 140 mayors in New Zealand on our water and sewerage reform back in 2007, 2008. Myself spoke about from council's point of view what the issues were at the time and some of the discussions on assets and that sort of thing. And Mayor Chipman spoke about the relationship that we have now and as owner reps and that sort of thing. So they were very interested and have been asked to do it again to more New Zealand mayors and elected members next week as well. So they're very right into the water reform and they're going through very well concerning times, I suppose, as we did back in 2008. There's nothing else on there, I don't think, out of the ordinary. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Motion is carried. 3.3 is declarations of interest. Is there anyone wishing to declare any interest? No. 4.1 is councillor reports. Councillors who have been appointed by the council to community and other organisations wish to report. Councillor Hiskett.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Penguin History Group, their last meeting. They just wanted to pass along some general dissatisfaction with some of the communication and the relationship with the council at the moment. We had a good discussion about what suggested resolutions should be going forward and how we should try to address that. They will be writing a letter to the council, to the general manager, mayor and councillors shortly, requesting that they can meet at some stage to develop some form of either a memorandum of understanding or some sort of formal agreement between the two groups to clarify the positions of both groups. I just would like to urge the councillors to listen to that respectfully and appropriately and try to build upon that relationship.
Any other reports? 5.1 is leave of absence. There are no applications. 6.1 is deputations. There are no requests. 7.1 is petitions. We have no petitions. And 8.1 is councillor questions without notice. Councillor Van Ryn. Councillor Beswick.
No, Mayor.
Councillor Barney.
No, Mayor.
Councillor Overton.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Hiskett.
3, thank you, and 2 for community services enclosed. Thank you.
Councillor Carpenter.
No, thanks, Mayor.
And none for myself. Thank you. 8.2 is councillor questions on notice and no questions have been received. 9.1 is public question time. We'll have that as close to 6:40 as we can. And the council have received 4 submissions which will be dealt with at that time. 10.1 is minutes and notes of committees of the council and other organisations. I have somebody move that be received.
So moved, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Beswick, seconded Councillor Barney. Any queries on any of those minutes?
Mayor, I'd just like to note how great the Careers Day event that the Central Coast Youth Leadership Council have organised to have, obviously this Wednesday. There's some great speakers there, and I hope everybody that attends has a beneficial day. It's good to see that the committee through the council have organised an event like that for the future development of our young people in the community.
Any other queries on any of those minutes? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. 10.2 is the Cradle Coast Regional Cat Management Strategy 2021 to 2026. Can I have somebody move that be?
So moved.
Thanks, Councillor Carpenter, seconded Councillor Van Ryn. Councillor Carpenter, would you like to speak to this one?
I can do, Mayor, and thank you. It was a good presentation, which we could have brought up before from, names escaping, the lady from the Cradle Coast Authority. Good presentation 3 weeks ago, I think it was thereabout. And it's a start to be able to build on something that we want to see improve over time, because it's been an ongoing concern for a lot of residents, a lot of people right around the community about feral cats and cats not managed properly. So the 3 areas, like the 3 major areas that are highlighted in the policy or in the strategy of the education awareness. Of course, we want to change culture. We've got to start with the young ones and move up from there, and all cat owners to try and change that culture, which is great. You really can't manage anything unless you have a good data collection system, so they've got that covered also, and we need that. We need it to be broader going forward, and to improve sort of access to cat management facilities, a bit like dog homes and things like that. So I think for the start off, where it's not huge financial burden on councils to start with, it's a good area to start on. I know it's 5 years, probably if it's reviewed in 2.5 to 3 and looked at again and see how it's operating, I think we should do that before the 5-year term's up and see if there's money available from the state government to enhance it going further forward, because feral cats, I don't see the issue in town. You'll see the disturbance that they cause and the nuisance they cause, but the damage that feral cats cause out in your wider communities is unbelievable. And we need to be able to get that under control sometime now. So, good report, and it's a start, a long overdue start.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Vine.
Just like to agree with Councillor Carpenter that it is just a start to the management of cats in our region, and really it's just putting down some ground rules in respect of the management thereof, and it'll be interesting is to see how the compliance goes into the future.
Any other speakers? Councillor Carpenter.
No, thanks, Ben.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. 10.3 is correspondence addressed to the Mayor and Councillors, and you've got an updated schedule there in front of you. A few things have been added. Can I have somebody move that schedule be received?
So moved, Nick.
Councillor Beswick, second Councillor Carpenter. Any queries on that correspondence? I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. 10.4 is the common seal. That there, can I have somebody move that be received, please?
I'll second.
Councillor Heskett, seconded Councillor Viney. Any queries on those items? I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. 10.5 is contracts and agreements. There's a schedule there. Can I have somebody move that be received, please?
So moved, Nick.
Councillor Beswick, seconder, please. Thanks, Councillor Overton. Any queries on those items? I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. Community services. 10.7, infrastructure services, the Central Coast Council surveillance policy. There's a report there, and can I have somebody move that the policy be adopted?
So moved, Nick.
Thanks, Councillor Beswick, a seconder, please. Councillor Van Ryn. Councillor Beswick, would you like to speak to this?
Yeah, it's a shame in the society that we live in today that we actually have to have a surveillance policy. I would much rather that we not have to surveil the community, but for everybody's safety and the way things unfortunately seem to be moving in society at this stage, it's something that we do need to address. So I fully support the document that's been prepared for us by the staff.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Well, just in theory, excuse me. In theory, look, I do support this. It's important to have surveillance on many of our buildings and some of our activities. Just a little bit of concern. I noticed one of the items mentioned in the report was surveillance of council staff, and I'm assuming that is that we need to have cameras on the staff to find out where they're going and what they're doing. I don't know that I go along with that, and I would hope that this is not going to be misused.
I believe these are cameras with people like the dog inspector and their own safety, parking inspectors, people who are out dealing with people, much the same as the police. So just to protect them.
Well, if that's what it's used for, I've got
It's not surveilling our staff
No,
in the
okay.
building, I understand.
That's all right. And,
No, nothing else. Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Heston.
I think the other thing about this is having a robust policy that, I mean, the main part of this is being able to ensure that we know who is accessing that information, and they're accessing it appropriately, and that's what this policy, I think, sets out to do, amongst where and what we do. But the main thing, the crux of this policy, as I see it, is making sure that the inappropriate people don't have access to it and can't use it for those nefarious purposes. So.
Councillor Bestwood, would you like to close?
I think everything's been said there, but just to confirm what you were saying, that in as far as the staff goes, it is important that when somebody may need to go and visit somebody at their home, if there's, let's say, a dog issue or whatever, that in the end they've got a recording of that. That's the best word to describe. Yeah, when they're visiting them, just in case there's some issues which can be used to support our staff. So, but yeah, I think everything's been said and I support it.
Put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. 2.8 is the guidelines for the installation of plaques and memorials in parks and open space within the Central Coast.
Move the suggested resolution.
Thanks, Councillor Van Hines. Councillor Van Hines moved. Seconded. Councillor Bestwick. Councillor Van Hines, would you like to speak to this?
Well, yes, Mayor, I do feel that this is important. From time to time, we do get requests from organisations to put memorials and so on in our parks. Not that long ago, we had one for the HMAS Melbourne and the survivors of that nasty accident. And with these guidelines set out now, everyone will know exactly what the score is. I mean, the problem at that time was that those ships went down, but it was not during wartime. And it was felt by some that the park down here should be reserved for ships and people that died during wartime. This was peacetime. It was just basically an exercise that went horribly wrong, but even so, we did give them permission in the previous suit there. And it's good to have it all set out so that everyone knows what the policy is.
Any other speakers?
Yeah, I totally endorse this policy coming forward, and I think the new sections that's been in, the one that, you know, has combined a couple, but section 6, the life of memorial and maintenance, is a new section. I think this is really important. You know, which details ownership of the plaque and the memorial. So when we're not here and whenever it used to come and the staff, everybody's moved on and on and on. I think it's, you know, it's clear there who owns it and whatever. And to me, sometimes memorials do have a life. But sometimes they might finish. And you might remove them in 50 or 100 years down the track and renew them. I don't know, but it might be. So I would understand now that this would allow that to happen in some degree when it's first initiated. And I do. And I think we've often spoken about, we put memorials in and then it's the cost of running them on certain types of memorials. You know, you can have fountains of lights or whatever. And there's a huge cost to that over a long period of time in repairs and maintenance. So I think if we use section 6 responsibly, we'll have a really good understanding of costs of memorials going forward in the real huge numbers. So I do like the way it's worded up there.
Any other speakers? Would you like to close, Councillor?
No,
I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? The motion is carried. 10.9 is tenders for bridge replacement at Adams Creek, Stotts Road, Rihanna. Report there. Can I have somebody move the suggested resolution?
I'll so move that, yeah.
I thought you might. Thank you, Councillor Carpenter, and seconded Councillor Viney. Councillor Carpenter, would you like to speak to this one?
Will do, Mayor, and I've already congratulated Paul, our director, on this, and up until probably a fortnight ago, I'd sort of given up the ghost on having a 2-lane bridge put in there, and this is, again, those who wait sometimes receive what they're after. It's a really good outcome. As I spoke earlier, not with Paul, for the 70,000 above budget to have a dual-lane bridge that's going to last 100 years when you extrapolate that 70,000 out over 100 years, it's an incredible outcome to do, where we could have been forced into doing a single lane and we had a budget of 300,000. It'll be happy. We've still got a time frame. It's going to be, March next year. It'll come around fairly quick, and we've been on a restricted rate anyway. It just allows your community to grow in this world of where we've got our government want to have a food basin. It just, in a lot of instances, the government's not really putting their hand up to help us construct the roads to cater for all that moving the food. So this does that. Putting these dual lane bridges in on these roads, and it's on a dangerous corner at the best of times, but it allows for that future growth and allows for safety. So our residents of Ryan will have to wait a little bit longer, but at least they'll have a safe bridge when it's done. And I do congratulate Paul. It's a really good outcome to move that few dollars around this year and make the most of that money, and we can rebudget again next year.
Any other speakers? Councillor Lyon.
Yes, I'd just like to say it's a great outcome that we've gone to a dual lane bridge. It's much better than a one-way fixture. It's a pity that we've come in over budget on it, and I note that we're deferring the project at Westover Drive, Waverley Road intersection, and hopefully that will come in early in the 22-23 financial year as a consequence, because priority should be given to it in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Well, Mayor, I did have a question on that, actually, if I may, to the engineer. I'm just wondering what we were intending to do on Waverley Road, which will now be deferred.
Yes, I can. Thanks, Councillor Ryan. The intent for Waverley Road was effectively a right turn lane to turn up Waverley Road off Westella Drive. The fence that I refer to in the report has basically restricted how much room we've got to do that. So if we can't move it out further toward the highway, then it potentially means it's a lot larger than we first anticipated, or even if we can do it. So until we get the design through and have those discussions with State Growth, then I can report further on where that project is next year.
Thank you.
Any other speakers? Councillor Carpenter, would you want to ask?
No, thanks, Mayor.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. Move on to 10.10, statutory determinations. There's a schedule there. Can I have somebody move that be received, please?
So moved, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Carpenter. Seconded, Councillor Beswick. Any queries on those determinations?
Still bouncing along there.
There's no other speakers. Put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Motion is carried. Infrastructure services, yes. Councillor Biscuit, do you have a question for the director?
Thank you. Happy to be taken on notice if required. Sorry, just wanted to ask a quick update on, I may have missed it in the corporate folder for this year. I remember we had some money allocated for investigating electric car charging stations in Penguin. I just wanted to confirm if there was any plan for any installations of those in any near future.
Thank you. Yeah, I will need to take that on notice. Yep. I'm not aware that there's certainly no money in this year's program for one in Penguin. We do have some money to support people with electric charging, but not specifically to go out and. Yep. I'll come back to you on that.
That brings us just about up to public question time and questions from 4.
Questions.
8 questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight we have 8 questions from 4 different ratepayers. So the first one's Dr. Jennifer Toothhope from Leith. And the first question is, has the council had any communications from the Department of State Growth or the consultants, GHD, concerning increasing the speed limit on Leith Road Leith from 60 kilometres an hour to 80 kilometres an hour or other speed? And if so, on what dates? What was the precise wording and reasoning? And will the council provide copies of all relevant documentation relating to any such communications? The answer is the council has not received any communications from either the Department of State Growth or GHD in regard to increasing the speed limit along Leith Road. The second question from Jennifer is, has the council had any communications from the Department of State Growth or the consultants, GHD, to remove the 10-tonne weight limit on Leith Road? And if so, on what dates? What was the precise wording and reasoning? And will the council provide copies of all relevant documentation relating to any such communications? The response is that the council has not received any communications from either the Department of State Growth or GHD in regard to removing the 10-tonne weight limit on Leith Road. Now, the next two questions are from Peter and Michelle Cosmetto in Leith. The council agenda for the meeting on the 16th of April, the 26th of the 3rd, 2018, Bass Highway overpass at Leith of 4, accommodation strategy. Will the council provide copies of the minutes and or notes from the council workshop of the 26th of the 3rd, 2018, Bass Highway overpass at Leith 4, accommodation strategy? And if not, why not? The response is that under the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2015, the council is required to state the date and purpose of any council workshops held since the last council meeting. A workshop is different to a council meeting in that it is a workshop, seminar or gathering of persons for the purposes of a council, but does not include a meeting or a meeting of a special committee. Hence, there are no minutes of the workshop. My handwritten notes state that the confidential workshop was run by representatives from the Department of State Growth and GHD. Confidential design options were shared with council, but obviously no decisions made. The accommodation strategy was not in relation to Leith, but about Central Coast as a whole. The second question is, I understand the council considers it's important to get together with residents to talk about what is happening in their area, swap ideas and information and set priorities. When does the council now propose to make councillors available to meet the Leith community to discuss concerns, talk about what is happening in the Leith area, swap ideas and information, set priorities? And will the council make councillors available to meet with the Leith community on a regular basis? My response is that the council has invited Leith residents to community morning teas in both Turners Beach and Forth. The morning teas have been in these two areas due to there not being an appropriate meeting place in Leith. The invitations were letterboxed in the Leith area for the meetings. These morning teas happen on an approximate 2-year cycle, but it's recently been longer due to COVID-19. There is a community plan for Leith, of which the community had input. It is suggested that this plan be reviewed with the Leith community in relation to its currency once the Department of State Growth has made a decision on the Bass Highway safety improvement near Leith. The establishment of a formal Leith community representative group can be considered as part of that review. Now, the next two questions are from Jamie Smith at Leith. Given the council did not survey or consult with the Leith community prior to urging an overpass in Leith, In its letter dated the 21st of September 2016 with enclosure, which person at the council, whether councillor or employee, first proposed the council right to the government, urging an overpass, or was an overpass proposed or suggested to the council by a ratepayer or resident within the Central Coast Council community or other entity within the Central Coast Council community or otherwise, and on which day or dates was an overpass conceived, suggested, proposed, so that council urged an overpass on the 21st of September 2016. The response is the state government held a cabinet meeting on Tuesday, the 24th of November 2015 at the Central Coast Council offices, where the safety issues in relation to the Bass Highway were discussed. As far as council is aware, this is the first time an overpass is mentioned as a possible solution. The council then followed up with a letter to Reen Heading MP on 14th of December 2015, providing the briefing notes which are on public record. These briefing notes were about safety concerns on the Bass Highway. The concerns contained in the December 2015 letter were reinforced in the letter to the Minister on the 21st of September 2016 as a follow-up, as there have been no further discussion since the Cabinet meeting on 24th of November 2015. The next question was, will the council provide all the documents, including minutes and file notes, for its deliberation and decision that the council or general manager wrote to Reen Heading in 2016? So a letter dated 21st of September was written where the council urges the state government to seriously consider using black spot funding to rationalise the two intersections with a single overpass and related infrastructure. And if there are no such documents, and how and why was the council or councillors able to determine or concede that an overpass at least should be urged? I can provide no further, my response is I can provide no further information except as advised in response to the first question. The staff member who wrote this letter on behalf of the Mayor has since retired. The last two questions are from Leslie Lyons, at least. First one is, will the council please provide all records, notes and documents relating to the council workshops in February 2021 and August 2021, where representatives, staff of the Department of State Growth and or its consultants attended these workshops and or met with the council and the councillors. The response is that under the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulation 2015, the council is required to state the date and purpose of any council workshop held since the last council meeting. A workshop is different to a council meeting, as that is a workshop, seminar or gathering of persons for the purpose of a council, but does not include a meeting. It's not a meeting or a meeting of a special committee. Hence, there are no minutes of the workshop. My handwritten notes state that the confidential workshops on 1st of February 2021 and 2nd of August 2021 were run by GHD representing the Department of State Growth. Confidential information was shared with Council in February, and the meeting in August 2021 was to provide the Council with the process that the Department of State Growth was undertaking in relation to the consultation and their decision-making process. And the last question was, given the poor sound quality of live stream council meetings and the need for council to return to face-to-face meetings and public attendance for public questions, when does the council propose to resume public attendance at council meetings and public question time? The response is the reason for not having public attendance at council meetings is due to not being able to have more than one member of the public at the meeting due to the state government's COVID-19 restrictions. The council has agreed to discuss further options for having the council meetings in another location in December if restrictions have not been lifted. This will include looking at logistical issues of moving the council meeting to another venue. The council is also currently looking at options to improve the sound quality of live streaming, which would hopefully be introduced at the October council meeting, subject to technology being available.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings this section of our meeting to a close. So I would like to ask Lou just to